Hi, and welcome tonight to Social Distancing, Supporting Your Gender Expansive Teen. I'm really excited to be present with you all tonight. I think this is a new way of reaching out and connecting, being online together, but I think we will have a really great meeting, just getting a chance to share how we're all feeling. It's been an intense few weeks, so I'm hoping we're all being mindful and helpful to each other and supporting one another, and I hope this presentation helps with that. So, why is social distancing presenting so many challenges to our teenagers right now? So, there's a lot of reasons, but mainly teens are just social beings who need affirmation from their peers. And so they're not getting it as easily as they used to. Now they're having to rely on social media, gaming, online school through Zoom. It's very limited compared to the way it used to be. And screens do not provide the interaction and intimacy that teens crave. They miss touch. I mean, I work at a school in a K through 8 school, and my middle school kids are always hands on, whether they're like play hitting each other or grabbing each other in chokeholds or slapping high fives. They're really missing that intimacy right now. And individuation from your parents is a big task of developing as a teen. And they're not able to do that so easily when they're on top of you in the same household with no place to go. So if they're heading into their room a lot, that's probably why. Parents, well, let's face it, we're all a little short tempered right now from dealing with money, health worries, employment concerns, older parents. The list is endless right now in terms of what we have on our minds. And that does make us a little less compassionate and understanding. And then our gender expansive teens also feel like their concerns are just not valid right now. They're not feeling that that should be taking some sort of importance because of what is going on in our world right now. So, what are some struggles related to social distancing? So we have increased dysphoria related to the dramatic uptick in screen time. They're seeing their faces constantly on the screen, and it's really difficult to be able to see that over and over and over. And then reactivations of feelings of being left out of a group. So this may bring up some awkward, difficult feelings they had experienced back when they were in maybe middle school or early in high school when they felt like they weren't part of a crowd. It's gotten really difficult to return to those emotions because they're being so isolated. And then the halting of supportive measures, so name changes, surgeries, hormone treatments, all of this may be put on hold as a result of Corona, and that is making it really hard to feel hopeful. And then we also have a disconnection of support services from GSA clubs, teachers, campus staff. As much as our kids bitterly complain about school, they really miss it. They really do want to be a part of that again. And it is really hard not to have those supported people around them. And sometimes our kids are not stuck at home with supportive families like yourselves. So for some of those kids, it is really difficult. Or just the new families that are new at this and struggling to understand, it is really hard to be isolated from peer groups right now. And then also being misgendered over the phone or computer. It's still happening, not as much as frequently in public, but it is definitely happening. And then a lack of distraction from the normal daily routines. They are not getting up at the same times, going to bed at the same times, getting up, getting showered, getting dressed. There is definitely a disruption to all of our routines right now, but especially difficult for our teens. And unable to practice new names, pronouns. Working through transition takes others. And so not having that friend group that was helping them out with, oh, I'm going to try this name this week. Tell me what y'all think. That could be really hard too. So maybe helping them do a lot of that work together right now would be really great. Feelings of guilt and shame. So as I pointed out earlier, there is a lot of worry that their gender identity journey is not as important right now due to Corona, but that is definitely not true. It's just as important as it was before. And so the flip side, there are a lot of positives to social distancing. Less interaction means reduced misgendering, which is really nice. Increased time to explore their identity. I'm going to share some resources later that can help with that, but now they have that time that they're able to do that. Freedom to dress as they choose without ridicule from others. I have a good friend who's so excited she gets to wear all these new dresses she bought for herself around the house every day, just getting used to her identity first before she declares it to the world. And so it's been really fun for her to be able to experiment with different hairstyles and different makeup. She said she's been really loving this time. So it's definitely the case of our teens too, being able to practice and use different styles and different things that they might not be ready to unveil to the world yet. And then time to explore social media groups. So there is a lot of support out there, but there isn't a lot of time when you have sports and other activities to do that. So now is a perfect time to get to know the community and find some people out there. Again, I'll share resources at the end to do that. And then for you parents and caregivers, we need to all be compassionate to each other right now. It is really difficult to be living on top of each other and not have your own space. So here's some really great do's and only a couple of don'ts, because I think you're probably already doing some wonderful work with them. So do ask what is affirming for your child so you can join in that activity with them. There might be something they want to purchase online. It's a fun time to start looking at styles and things that they might like. It's a really great activity to do together. Do work on your own gender identity and expression if you haven't already. It is definitely important that we also do our own work in discovering who we are in this process with our teens so that we get to understand exactly what it is they're going through. And this is a whole topic for another talk, but I just wanted to mention it as something that you could work on yourselves. And do allow your teen space to learn and grow and individuate. Closed doors are not personal. They're not against you. It's just their own space to be able to work on themselves. Do take this time to get your own education and support, like coming to our meeting tonight. And there's some wonderful webinars out there right now. I'm going to share a great one at the end, offered by all different therapists and providers out there. So definitely a great chance to get on top of some learning. And find an outlet for your frustrations for yourself, whether it be exercise, calling a friend, having a Zoom chat. Do something for you so that you feel better, so that you can be there for your teen. Oxygen mask theory is in full force right now. We got to take care of ourselves. And do that by being extra compassionate and kind to yourself first, and then you can be that way to your own kids. And evaluating the language in your family. It's so funny how the norms were very different even 20 years ago in terms of gender slurs and appropriateness and assumptions. Now is a perfect time to analyze how you're doing that as a family. Do not use negative body language, especially with all the snacking, using terms like, oh, I'm going to lose my girlish figure. Well, again, those are negative ways to look at ourselves, and they get internalized by our kids. So something just to watch out for. And this is my biggest one. I think it's hard to separate between what is teen behavior and then what is a struggle for your child going through transitioning. So never, ever, ever use gender identity or expression as a form of punishment or to rectify behavior. So for example, not using the correct pronouns because they're being disrespectful, or taking away affirming clothes if they're being rude to their little brother. These are areas that should be untouchable. They really do not help, and they can actually hurt. And for my teens who may be watching or listening, using Post-its to block the screen to avoid seeing yourself constantly. I had to do this as an online therapist. It was driving me crazy. I was sick of looking at my face. I still am. So it's a great way just to keep that distraction from getting to you. And then watch a show with your family that highlights positive trans and non-binary folks. There's so many good ones out there right now, all over the internet. YouTube especially has some great short films. So I highly recommend getting together with your family and watching them together. And then reach out to peers who are on their gender journey so you can kind of share your ups, your downs, the things that you're needing, the things that you enjoy. And, there are people all over the world going through this at the same time. So you can find friends in all different countries right now. And do ask affirming family to practice your name and pronoun changes with you. It's fun and it's exciting to be able to see this transformation. Do not feel guilty for needing affirmation at this time. You need it, you deserve it, and you should welcome it always. It should never be, oh, there's something bigger going on. You're always the biggest thing going on. And then cultivate an activity plan for something to do post-COVID, like going to a Pride event or joining in with the LGBT group in your community, something that you can look forward to after all this is over, because it will end, I promise. Some great resources I've found to support and help. Online support groups are wonderful. The South Bay LGBT Center is still having their trans teen group, so that's a local one you can find online. Online training for parents offered by trans-identified therapists. I cannot recommend this enough. As a therapist who's also cis, I really do have to get, I mean, it's a mandatory for me to get my training from trans-identified people. Their lived experience that I'm happy to pay for to learn more is so valuable to me. So I highly recommend it for parents as well. My friend Hayden's giving a really great training coming up that's super affordable and will give so much information. He's one of those people that I rely on for my information as well. So I highly recommend checking it out. And then books that help explore identity for teens. You and Your Gender Identity by Dara Hoffman is a really good one. They're offering it for only $1.99 in its PDF format. So if you just Google them, you'll be able to find that information. And they're a great resource. A non-binary therapist themselves, they have lots of information. This one I just found. It's called validationstation.net. It's an organization that sends out validating texts every day. So check that out. A presenter at our recent support group meeting a couple months ago was itgetsbetter.org. They have over 60,000 positive LGBTQIA videos of families, individuals, parents, all sorts of people that share their viewpoints to uplift and make others feel better. So it's another great resource. And then social media groups through places like Reddit and Discord. Of course, parents, you might want to vet them first and check them out, but these can be enormously supportive and helpful right now. Now I'm going to leave some time for question and answers. We're going to go to a live feed and some time to share some of the topics I brought up. I was hoping they could spark some conversation. I'm sure all of you have your tips as well. This was just a very brief overview, really to get everybody talking. And please, I welcome any questions you may have for me as a gender therapist and someone who works with teens on a regular basis. Again, I'm also a school counselor, so I have lots and lots and lots of resources and information to share, so please feel free to ask. And that'll be the end of our presentation, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you all in the upcoming session. And thanks so much for allowing me to share tonight. I really, really appreciated this opportunity.